Alrighty, so we've got some Week 8 rankings for the AP poll and the coaches poll. We're still waiting it out for the Mark Rogers top 25 that actually makes sense ranking. I've got a feeling we're much higher than where we're at in the AP and coaches poll, according to Mark. But we're 6th below Ole Miss. We're below Indiana, Miami, Ohio State, Texas A&M. How are you feeling about the rankings, Jeffrey?
I think the rankings are fair. I know some people will probably be like, "No, you can't say that, Jeffrey. You got to be anti the rankings." Now, I'm anti the rankings in a lot of spots because I think there are a lot of teams that are ranked where they should not be ranked all throughout. But I think Alabama at 6 is fine. I mean, we have a loss. It sucks that we have a loss, but we have a loss. We lost to Florida State, and that loss is aging horribly. I think if we played them today, we'd obviously win by 2+ scores. I mean, that's everyone knows that, but it is what it is.
No.
What happened?
Oh, Lord.
We got more outtakes. What's going on?
I know, right? It's like
I was like, am I still here?
Yeah, you're still here, good buddy.
Okay. Well, like I was saying, we that loss to Florida State, like we know we'd win today, like 99% chance we'd win that game today, but we have that loss. Every team ahead of us is undefeated. You really can't argue with that. Yeah, we know Ole Miss almost lost to Washington State, but they didn't. Texas A&M. I think every team, A&M up, definitely should be ranked ahead of Alabama. They're all undefeated. They've all looked great. Ohio State, they're great. They got great players. They've done what they're supposed to do. Miami's looked great this year so far. I'm still waiting for their inevitable choke, but they haven't choked yet, so they look good. Indiana. Oregon win. Illinois win. They're playing great. I mean, you could argue IU maybe should be second, but they're not. But again, like those three teams should be ahead of Alabama. A&M, I think, should be ahead of Alabama. They're undefeated, and they've looked good. And I think Ole Miss, you can argue, but they don't have a loss. Alabama does. So I think Alabama at 6. We are the highest ranked one-loss team. That's fair. We're in great shape. We've basically burned off the Florida State loss. Like if we were undefeated right now, yeah, we would be ranked higher than 6th. But the fact that we have a loss to a 3-3 football team, and we are ranked 6th, that's good because they are taking into account, hey, Alabama's last 3 wins are over ranked opponents in Missouri, Vanderbilt, and Georgia. Those wins outweigh that Florida State loss. And the loss is looking more and more like, I wouldn't say a fluke because I don't think the loss was a fluke necessarily. I think it was the timing of it. It was week 1. Florida State was amped. They were hyped. They were ready. We were not, and we lost. I think that we would probably lose that game again if we started the season over. Not starting the season over right now, we would win because I'm talking about like reset the season, just do it all over again, go back in time, go back to August, September. We would not win probably again. If we played them now, we would win. But again, I agree with Chris Camp. We did need that loss, and that is why I said not to panic if we did lose. I mean, again, I can't predict the future. We could have completely crumbled after the Florida State loss. We could have completely fallen apart, lost to Georgia, lost to Vandy, lost to Missouri. We could be 2-4 right now and just divorce fired and all derailed and everything. But I said not to panic after the Florida State game if we lost, and I said this before the loss. Saying if we were to lose, remember we were asked by Austin, is it a must win? And I said no, it's not a must win because we could turn around and still have a great season. And you see how that scenario is unfolding. That exact scenario is unfolding. Alabama lost, and since then, we've been great. So the loss has helped us.
You know what the 2025 Alabama-Florida State game feels similar to? 2014 Ohio State, Virginia Tech.
It's an easy comparison, especially if Bama goes all the way and wins a national title. Then it's the exact comparison.
Oh, yeah, because Virginia Tech let the Ohio State win go to their heads, and they thought about nothing else. Same with Florida State. They dealt with total annihilation from Miami until the fourth quarter. They lost to Virginia in overtime. You shouldn't be losing to Virginia in overtime. That's bad right there. I don't care that's on a Friday night. That's completely
that game exposed that Florida State wasn't that good.
Agreed.
And, it is what it is for Florida State. I was happy for them and their fans that they were, having a good year to start out after the 2-10 season last year, but it looks like they're not very good. And again, Alabama should not be punished that severely for that game because it was a week 1 game. I think week 1 games results should be taken less into account than any other week of the season. Because, again, it's week 1. The way you play after that game, each subsequent week matters more.
Yeah.
I mean, just say Indiana beats Illinois 63-10 in week 1, for an example. But then the rest of the season, they go 4-8. Did that mean Indiana was good? No, it did not. They had the game of their life in week 1, and then they crapped the bed after that. But they didn't, because that result's fake. Indiana beat Illinois in week 4, and they backed it up with wins over Iowa and Oregon, so they looked great. But Alabama, that Florida State loss, they've gotten better since then. Florida State has gotten worse. So week 1 results to me should not be the be-all and end-all. And that's why I said the Bama-Texas game in 2023, that was a week 2 game that we lost. That's not super indicative either. The further you get into the season, week 4, week 5, week 6, those results start to matter a lot more in my mind. And they should matter a lot more in everyone else's mind because those results are more indicative. Unless your team is just completely injured. Like maybe you started the season 6-0, but then your starting quarterback gets hurt, and then you have a ton of injuries. That's the only exception. That's the exception about later in the year a team playing worse. That's the exception. But unless that's the case, if you start the season out playing well and then you decline, then that either means you were not a good team to begin with. You didn't get – either means you weren't good to begin with and you were getting by and maybe teams just found out your weaknesses, or it means that you just didn't improve and the teams around you did. Because sometimes that happens. Sometimes you just peak. You peak early, and then you don't get any better. You're supposed to improve week by week. You're supposed to be a completely improved team by the end of the season from the beginning because you've been playing together as a team all season long. You're supposed to get better. If you don't get better as a team, then you're going to lose late in the year. But again, Alabama being at 6 to tie it all back together is fair because every team ahead of us is undefeated. And you can't ask for much more than that. That's telling you that the nation believes that we are the best one-loss team. The coaches poll says that. The AP poll says that. And I'm sure Mark Rogers' top 25 that actually makes sense will say that. So, again, that's great. And when the CFP rankings come out, if we keep winning, we're going to be high up in that as well. So we're in great shape right now. I have no concerns right now. We just got to keep playing well.
No doubt. And, I mean, because, we've got Tennessee coming up on Saturday – and LSU after South Carolina, then we got Oklahoma, where Mateer's going to be fully healthy. And I know that Auburn's not considered a tough game, but Jordan Hare, man, that's scary.
It's going to be tough. It always is. I mean, Auburn plays their best at home against Georgia and Alabama. First half against Georgia, they looked really good. They looked like a top, 15 team, and then it all crumbled. So I'm sure when they play us, they're going to play a heck of a game, and they're going to probably compete hard, and hopefully we win. We have won the last several times in Jordan Hare, but it's been close. It's been by the skin of our teeth. So definitely expect a dogfight.
There we go.